Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Press R. Cameroon has such a rich subsoil that if transparently well exploited, exploited and used for the benefit of all and sundry, our priority will change from complaining about unstable development strategies. We should sit at the same global table with the concert of nations with an imposing voice of argument and discuss emergence. We have oil, we have common and rare minerals in super industrial quantities. There is no reason for us to be poor and indebted. Thank goodness, the President of the Republic has placed mining as a priority on his scale of preference to transform our economy. It is not a given because we have to move our mining from potential to production. And this is where there are so many stakes, which is our focus on Press R today. Mining in Cameroon. What are the stakes from potential to production? To talk about this very important topic that concerns all of us and concerns the state from the top to the bottom are the following panelists. We have Mrs. Agbo-Karin, who is the Director of Geology in the Ministry of Mines, Industries and Technological Development. You're welcome to Press R.
Thank you, sir.
Just next to you, we have Dr. Livinus Esambe, who is a civil society actor. You're welcome to Press R.
Thank you.
Now we have our own Ndi Eugene Ndi, who is the publisher, editor-in-chief of Newswatch newspaper. Eugene, we're glad to have you on our set today.
Always a pleasure to be on set, Killian.
Professor Kingsley Kele-Moua, an economist. He has some other portfolios that I would like him to introduce himself. We are very happy, doubly happy, because at 10 o'clock you were in Douala, 10 o'clock this morning, and at this time, 12:30 in Yaoundé, you are here. Welcome first, and thank you for honoring.
Thank you, Killian. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys, and thank you to the co-panelists. Like you said, I'm Professor Kele-Moua Kingsley. I'm a finance engineer. I think we should leave it at that for now.
This is good, and then, of course, it's good for the set. Some people were asking, what magic did he use to leave Douala at 10 a.m. and we are just at 12:30, 12:33 in Yaoundé, and you are on the set.
You know, our national Kameko is still flying, still in the skies. So we're blessed to have taken off on time, and then we just got here and I came straight. So thanks to Kameko, we pray and hope that
without any advert, but flying. Actually this is something good. That's good news for us to learn. Thank you very much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to waste so much time. We're going to invite Emmanuel Avemnu, who has done press review, who has been reading the newspaper for us, and here is the newspaper review that she put together for Press R.
The paper stayed true to their missions, the week ending feeding their readers with diverse content. An explosion kills one person and injures over 40 at Nkambe Grandstand in the Garden Post. A bomb blast, the Post newspaper says, was during Youth Day March Past on 11 February. The same story is carried by Newswatch. An attack municipal update sees as feeding on innocent blood with the headline Amber Terrorism cuts short lives of Louisa and Cherish. A bloody Youth Day in Nkambe also reported by the Post newspaper. Then Bia and Dion Gute joined nation to condemn the attack in municipal updates. To the Voice, Bia shed tears for Nkambe bomb blast victim before 3 suspects of the bomb blast are apprehended in the Eden. Injured cases then rise to 70 with severe cases airlifted to Bamenda in the Post newspaper. But the 58th Youth Day celebration is observed in Pomp in the southwest region in the dawn as Idabwato youth vow to be more patriotic and development-oriented in Cameroon Acres. Indian youth on their part expressed gratitude to President Biya and PM Dion Gute in Cameroon Acres as tarring of Kumba Ekondo Titi Road on course. Paul Biya clocks 91 and birthday festivities are plenty in Cameroon Tribune as nation celebrates Biya at 91 in POM. In municipal updates, bike riders and youth groups still show nationwide and celebrate Biya's hero in the Guardian Post. But the Post newspaper is convinced that these youths were teleguided to besiege 90-year-old Biya run for re-election, and the Horizon wants to know why such deification of Biya at 90. U.S. President then knights ICT University founder Professor Mbarika in municipal updates. The Voice newspaper indicates that it's a lifetime achievement awarded to ICT founder. The Post tells the same story of recognition to Professor Mbarika, and the Horizon concludes indicating that after UK House of Lords award, ICT University founder has again been honored by Joe Biden. At a time, new Sonora GM installed and tasked to speed up restructuring process in the Eden, Bako Aruna set to tackle new challenges of the refinery in the Dawn. The Sun newspaper presents new Sonora GM as profile for the task. The Herald Tribune, on its part, brings to the fore new Northwest mayors risking lives to impact communities. African leaders are then set to choose President of the 78th United Nations General Assembly in Cameroon Tribune, and former PM Yang is chosen to chair 79th UN General Assembly in municipal updates, just when the countdown to the 2024 Business Fair dubbed Promote narrows in Yaoundé in Cameroon Tribune. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
Thank you very much, Emanuela. Lady and gentlemen here on the set, we all watched that press review together. We're going to take one or two topics there and then as a kind of matters arising from the press review, talk about that. And I'm going to start with you, Dr. Livinus Esambe.
Yes, I was impressed with the analysis of the press review because what interested me most is the area of my advocacy. 70% of crude oil comes from Dian. About 2% comes from Mamfe, the basins of crude oil. Well, if we are talking about tarring a road, paving a road, Ikondo Titin in Dian today, where had been the proceeds of petrol that we could not tar a road from Dian to Ikondo Titi?
Okay. Yes, we're going to raise some of those issues because it is part of our topic today. We call it subnational transfers, or commonly called royalties. It's part of our discussion today because we're looking at mining and how Cameroon is working to move from potential to production. So obviously we cannot produce without looking at some of those things. It's good that you raise that. It baffles all of us, and the people from whose soil the minerals are got should benefit directly. So thank you for raising that. Eugene, we're going to talk about one other issue that was raised by the press.
The one issue that got me was President Biya celebrating 91 years, 42 of which he has been President of the Republic. That is laudable, that is appreciable. Long life be his portion. But my worry is that youths who the Post describe as teleguided, who are celebrating the birthday of the president, were unable to watch themselves on TV because they did not have electricity in their homes. That is what baffles me, that young people went, celebrated the birthday of the president, then calling on him again to be president when there is another election in 2025. But they came back home and they were unable to watch themselves on television, on national television, because they did not have electricity, which shows, I don't know, I leave it to them to ponder how they should celebrate somebody, call him to be president, but they come back home, they don't even have phones because their phones are off, they cannot charge it.
Yes,
because there is no electricity, there
you
is
also
no
need
energy.
to know that he is not the Director General of the electricity company.
Quite well,
that the president has given firm instruction to those people. I think those are the people we should blame for not giving us electricity and some of those
the
things.
president had
But
placed
you do well,
the people who would give us electricity well in those places would have had it. But I pray for long life for the president as a person.
Yes, we do, because in every home, if he were your father, you would say, live long life, Mr.
He can live
Papa.
for as long as he wants.
Yes, Dr. Professor Kelly, anything?
Yeah, I think what caught my attention is the promote that is soon to be organized. I think it starts tomorrow or
It's
next
started even already.
It started, yeah, already. Yeah, so I think it's part of the initiatives to see how we can consume what we produce and produce what we consume. It is not just a matter of producing, but it's also a matter of meeting with global norms and standards when it comes to production, because we're producing for self-sufficiency, but beyond and above, we should also start thinking of how it can contribute to real changes in lives.
Thank you very much. We cannot go without asking you to tell us what caught your attention, particularly on the press review that we had. Mrs. Agwo Karim.
Thank you, Kilian. I think it's promotes as well, because those are events we organize every year. So we should try to make sure that each event we should capture what is going to benefit our country and our people. So that's what really captured me during that.
And I understand you are also warming up to organize an international fair convention in Cameroon as Ministry of Mines, Industries and Technological Development that we're going to talk about. We're simply talking about CIMEC, the Cameroon International Mining and Exhibition Convention. Now we're going to delve into our discussion. For today, our topic is mining in Cameroon. What are the stakes from potential to production? Just let us refresh our minds with the potential of mine that we have in Cameroon. I cannot start with any other person but you, Mrs. Agwo Karim.
Thank you again, Kilian. For mining potentials in Cameroon, we have a lot of minerals, from bauxite to iron ore to nickel, cobalt to gold, of course, to sapphire, tungsten, and so forth. So Cameroon is well endowed with most of those minerals, which can actually be of great impact of the economy of Cameroon.
Can we also know about the quantity and the areas where we have the deposits concentrated?
Okay, for iron ore, it is mostly in the south because we have the Creton, and the east of the country we have the gold deposit and parts of the north as well. Then we also have in the central region we have the nickel cobalt deposit and of course the Vuta. Then in the southwest and the littoral we have the oil and gas.
So we are truly very rich in our minerals. So the question that came up in our introduction that many of us are asking on the set and even out there is, with all of this, why are we still considered a poor and indebted country? That is not a question to answer now. The answer will come in our discussion. Yes, just talking about potential. Any of you will want to add something to this potential that the Director of Geology in the Ministry of Mines, Industries and Technological Development has given us?
Kilian, I'm happy with the explanation by the Director of Geology. Potential, yes, they are bound. But how have these potentials benefited Cameroonians is what is still baffling me. Because we've not had so much from, to the best of my knowledge, we have not had so much benefit in areas where you've just named. We go to the east, for instance. I've been to mining areas in the east, and the life that the people around the mining sites live is horrible. But when you hear, oh, you go to Kambele, you go to Batari Oya, you go to Haya, you go to... But go there and see what the people live. You understand that the they live on gold, but they don't live a golden life at all.
Okay, maybe you should say something about this, because in the East, where he's talking about, truly what he has said is true, but the type of mining that is taking place there is artisanal. It is semi, which cannot actually. Is that what I heard? You confirm that?
Yes, Kilian. Of course, for now, we cannot say Cameroon is a mining country when it comes to gold, because the gold exploitation that is done in Cameroon currently is artisanal. Like, everybody is just searching for where they can find something to sell. And I would like to say that some companies, of course, have benefited from this exploitation, because when the structure CAPAM was existing, they used to collect what you call the tax ad valorem from those mining companies. And about, I think, 800 million was sent to those areas through the council, actually prone to those mining activities. I think Kolomine, Betare Oya, Menganga, and of course Batui also benefited from the 800 million francs that was sent to those companies, to those communities for local development.
So thank you for giving the facts and figures, not only the facts, which means that they are verifiable. Yes, Dr. Livinus Isande, we're still on potential.
Yes. Yes. Before I go into the issue of potential, because if an expert speaks, it's not normal for me to be adding, because we are rich, enormously rich in terms of potential. What we, the civil society, we are decrying when we call it, that is a paradox of plenty. We live in a resource-cursed nation where these potentials cannot plow back development. I was very intrigued with the 8 million that they sent in Gabdouram, 800 million. And since the reports of the EITI, Cameroon Transparency Initiative, since 2015, we have statistics, 2015, 2016, 20, and they talk about millions and billions. So that 800 million you are talking about is almost about 5% of subnational transfers that had been slated for those communities. And how do you feel when we talk to people in Victoria that they are poverty in gold? They are living in poverty in gold. How do you feel that 800 million can trigger development? So when you look at the facts and statistics of what the government has stated in those transparency reports, you see that it's just a microcosm of what you are talking about.
Yes, Professor Kelemwa. The mining, we are still in that east, which the director of Geology in the Ministry of Mines has said we cannot say we are doing mining already, because it has to do with drilling and getting deep to get industrial quantities. That's not what is happening. But can we already know from an economic point of view, financial point of view, how much we are losing by not doing it on an industrial level?
I think we can look at it from different strands of reasoning. When we talk of potentials, it means that we need to find out at what level these potentials are. Are we still talking about research? Are we talking about identification? Are we talking about harnessing? Are we talking about regulations? Are we talking about a whole lot of things? You can't really measure the full economic impact if you don't have the exact figures in terms of, the deposits where they are found, and if the adequate regulatory dispensations around the whole activities have been well put in place. So we are talking about artisanal because, people at small scales are trying to see how they can survive from the activities because the potentials are there. But you see that in countries that really depend on mining. If we take the case of Botswana, for example, that has huge deposits of diamond, I think one of the biggest in the continent, if not in the world, you see that the way it is structured, the way it is organized, the way the potentials are being tapped into, the way they are being exploited, everybody can really see the backdrop in terms of what is the activities contributing to their GDP. But with us, I think that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. SONAMIN has been put in place. I think one of the strategies is to see how all of the mining activities can be concentrated and regulated and monitored from a central point. But I think there is a lot that can be benefited from by both the public and the private sector. I think one thing that is key, if I may, while we are working on seeing how they can harness the exploitation of the mining sector, is to introduce the concept of corporate social responsibility. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, from corporate social responsibility simply entails that you don't even need the central administration to be the one to it. The companies that are exploiting at the ground level should be able to contribute in the building of potentials around the mining activity, because it is a win-win situation. You tap into the area, is feeding you, making you rich, bringing out the resources. The people don't have what it takes to. Those resources have been there for hundreds of years.
We are going to
the population didn't do anything about that. But now that it has been identified, how can it be structured in a way that automatically, yes, both the local population and the national population can feel the pinch? And I think the best way to address that is by making sure that the concept of corporate social responsibility is introduced into the different regulations.
And as we speak, we already have a mining code in Cameroon. That is the one document which we call law that is going to. It has already put all of that into in place. The only thing we expect to see done is for that to be implemented, and we're talking about law number 2023/014 of the 10th of December 2023 relating to the mining code. This one is a revised edition. I want to think that of the code of 2016 from the research that we made, and there's already a code to that effect. And the professor was talking about the potential and the rest, and we cannot measure, we cannot do that. And you also said, Madam Karin, that we cannot talk of mining per se today in Cameroon. Now the question is, what does it take? What is the government doing to move us from the potential you've given and that we agree to production, where we can actually carry out some of these activities, the local population benefit, and then our economy is revamped?
Thank you, Kilian. I think recently there have been 4 exploitation licenses that was signed, 3 for iron ore and then 1 for gold. So currently they are the phase of construction, because mining has 2 major phases: the construction phase and the production phase itself. So those projects would obviously have started with the construction phase, and of course in the nearest future we are hoping to have the exportation of the first batch of the iron ore that we have, iron ore concentrate in Cameroon. So I think so much is ongoing currently. I would like to chip in something when it comes to the organizing of the artisanal sector in the East, because of course, we are okay that so much is happening. There's a lot of this or that, which is not only in Cameroon. If you have to check, generally in the world, artisanal sector is very difficult to organize, to put together, because everybody is doing their own stuff. Villagers are there and everybody is just in there, so it's a sector that is really difficult to control. But recently the Ministry of Mines, in collaboration with the chiefs and the councils, have put in place like what the professor was saying, a form of corporate social responsibilities for those companies at that level, because normally at the industrial level it is automatic that you have a corporate social responsibility. It is automatic. But at the semi-mechanized and the artisanal level, the ministry currently is trying to ensure that there are projects that has to be implemented in those localities by those companies that are there currently exploiting. That's something which is currently ongoing. So I think in the nearest future we're going to have some very valid projects coming up from those companies who are exploiting gold artisanally in the east and in the north region.
And your minister had a press conference this week We followed closely what happened, and he stated in one of the declarations that Cameroon is one of the countries in Africa, and if not in the world, where you have the involvement of the local community more than what we can imagine. Let us take a watch on what he said about this.
About the involvement of Cameroonians, I want to say that in South Africa, it took 200 years for South African indigenes to be involved in mining by special legislation. But I'm proud to say that Cameroon is starting its first project. One of these mining projects is 100% owned by Cameroonian. It's unique in Africa. And I think we've done a lot to sponsor and involve. And I want to say that the CMC project, Mbalam, today is headed by a young Cameroonian who is Harvard trained and is negotiating and making sure that Cameroon has the best interest. Again, if you look at the gold project in Colomine, it's a Cameroon project again, which is a joint venture between Cameroon, but Cameroonians have almost close to 50% in the project. So we are doing something that has never been done in Africa. And I think you can be rest assured that the Ministry of Mines is protecting the interests of this nation, whether it comes to what has to be done to the local populations through royalties, through social projects and the rest. I think we can say that we are taking the lead in Africa.
Wow. So it will go by the minister. Why shouldn't we go by him? We have to be proud that we are Cameroon, doing more than other countries are doing. Now, let us look at the opportunities that this mining will give to Cameroon when we actually get into the production level, beginning with Professor Moa Kelly.
Yeah, I think that the opportunities are going to be very many. We're going to start here with job creation. I think it's a sector that has huge potentials when it comes to creating jobs. A lot of jobs are going to be created, and we know what job creation can contribute in an economy. It is going to generate a lot of revenue. There is a lot. We have our emergence plan for 2035, which requires a lot of financing, and this sector can bring the kind of resources that we are looking at. We are looking at the foreign currency reserves. It's going to be an improvement in our balance of payments, because most of the gold that we produce, I think it will help to bring in hard currency. I think it's going to play a key role in the development of the industrial sector as a whole, because you can't become an emerged country if you are not industrialized. Because for now, even when the regulations and regulatory dispositions will be in place, that will be for mechanized production in large scale of the gold. But now, when it comes to transformation, we need industries that will be able to handle that, shape it in a way that we can get the best value out of the money that will be invested in the sector. So I think these are just a few things that come quick to mind.
You have another one to add, Eugene?
Kilian, thank you. Listening to the director, to the minister. Mm-hmm. No, before you go to the opportunities, let's face it. Let's face this. You won't have the opportunities if you don't move from that potential to production. Mm-hmm. How do you move from potential to production first before having the opportunities? We need, like Prof is saying, we need infrastructure. Where is the infrastructure? We need energy. Prof is just saying here that we need mechanized production. We need companies in place to do this. Where are the companies? Currently, we don't have enough energy for the household. I was at the press conference last week where the Director General of ENU was seemingly lamenting that they can't cope any longer because of debt, highly indebted, both to service providers and to this, and then the state is owing them a lot of money that is not paid. The reason why we are having the blackout. Now we are currently having an issue with electricity, with energy. And energy is a very important component of this production. How then do we move to production? We have infrastructure. Iron ore, for instance, when Madam the Director was talking about, can iron ore be transported using a car? No. Iron ore will be transported using special means like railway, which we all agree. Where is the railway? We have to put this in place. We don't yet have this. It is a lofty project. I hail Minister Fu Callistus Gentry for that. I hail the government for that. But let's start from somewhere. We are putting the cart before the horse. We are talking benefits. We are talking production. Let's look at the factors of production. We need energy. We need infrastructure. Where is it before we go to the production?
Madam Karen, he speaks like an expert. This is a journalist who has done his research. What do you have to say about this?
Thank you, Kilian. I think we have inside the 3 industrial iron ore projects we have. One is in the east, it's south, and then the other 2 in the south, which are about close to like 20 or 40 kilometers close to the pole. So you can bear with me that those 2 projects do not necessitate railway. They can go through road, or they can decide to do through pipeline. So there are some projects that can deal without those infrastructures you're talking about. So these are some of the developments that are coming up. When it comes to electricity, I think every one of those projects have a plan B. They are going to be using gas instead of depending on NEO for electricity, because those are industries that they cannot even use the electricity produced by NEO because it's for local consumption. So they're going to be producing their own energy using gas or heavy fuel to be able to push forward their projects.
Wow. Dr. Livinus Esambe, I will come to you, but let us finish with opportunities. The minister also addressed this idea of opportunities. Then we're going to move into what the code offers for us. Yes, we're watching opportunities that the minister advanced, just some of them.
The provision of special areas that will carve out dedicated to semi-mechanized gold mining using a closed system which will increase revenues from this activity tenfold. Indeed, take me for my words. Following the strict instructions of the head of state regarding the exploitation of gold as a part of diversification of public financial resources, the new system we want to introduce as a closed system, carbon in leach, will permit a drastic change in the precarious situation which currently prevails in the East and Adamawa regions. Thus, the state can significantly improve its tax collection in this sector and adjust the shortcomings as regard to the tax declaration system presently, which depends on the goodwill of the investor. The closed system has the advantage of bringing together all stakeholders to monitor the actual production so as to effectively collect the exact allocated shares. In addition, this system reduces the environmental footprint of mining. To support this idea, I want to announce to you that we'll be seeing the first installation of a closed system, carbon in leach, in March 2024 in the East, which we will personally inaugurate.
Wow. Those are announcements. I think, Eugene, that you are assured, and so many other people are assured. The minister has not given a long-term promise. It's in March. We are already in February, so you should wait in March. You ask him if he has not done that. For now, we give him that credit. We're now going to talk about the code. How can the code, the mining code, help solve some of the problems that we have? We'll start with you. Livinus?
Yeah. Kilian, we have lofty ideas on papers. When I listen to our discussions, I feel a bit sick, but I will not be sick. Because
let us begin from
yes,
from the good points of the mining code. If you have criticisms, we can now get into them.
So with the current mining code that we analyzed, we have the strengths and the weaknesses of the mining code. Actually, most of the strengths of the new mining code will be centered around local resource mobilization. There will be an increase in revenue because when you look at the new tax system, the new financial law and the budget law, you realize that the way they will collect taxes, the ad valorem tax, the centennial tax, and all of that will improve upon our tax, the revenues that the state will gain from there. The new mining code has also elaborated on what they call local content, which means that there is a lot of provisions that have been taken into consideration when it concerns local community development, which the new mining code as well has taken care of the protective zones, the zones that were a taboo. For example, areas where we had protected areas like forest, environmental problems. It is so elaborate in the new mining code how they will regulate these activities.
Thank you. And Madam, you have more strengths of the mining code? Because we're going to go around the strength of the mining code. If you have some weaknesses, we come to them. Yes, Madam Kari?
Okay, I think he has elaborated most of the strengths of the mining code, but I would like to add the fact that we have also the existence of SONAMIN. So I think one of the very solid points why this code was re-elaborated was because they wanted to bring in SONAMIN as a major actor in the mining sector. Also in the sector of the quarries, I think the management of quarries have been improved. Like before, quarries were 100% owned by foreigners. Like you can own your quarry activities. But the new mining code has insisted on the fact that for a company to have and own or operate a quarry in Cameroon, 35% has to be made of Cameroonians.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a great improvement in the mining code.
Thank you very much. Any other strength of the new mining code?
Yeah, I think if I may add just two things, or a couple of things. First is that the mining code is a regulatory framework. What is important is to understand that Cameroon wants to become industrialized. The mining sector wants to be well exploited, but in a sustainable manner. And if you go through the mining code, you see that these are some of the key elements that have been considered. Secondly, it's accountability and transparency. I mean, there is a very clear point concerning how the mining sector resources and revenues will be managed and how they will be accounted for. What Chief said is also very important, the interest of the local communities. I mean, like, how do they keep, you don't come and mine and then destroy their lifestyle. You want to mine and make sure that their lifestyles are taken into cognizance and in a very sustainable manner. I think those are just a few points I may add.
Thank you. We mean that there's a lot of improvement in the new mining code. If I should start from your end, are there some weaknesses that you can think of? If not, then I go around.
Definitely, there's always room for improvement. You know, if we look at the mining code, some of the challenges may be at the level of implementation. You know, operationalizing, conceiving is one thing, but operationalizing always has its own limitations. We had spoken elaborately in terms of infrastructure. What is important is that a roadmap has been defined from moving from the potentials to actually exploitation, but it's a whole roadmap and it has a blueprint that would eventually get us there. I mean, there is no country. The minister spoke of 200 years that it took South Africa for them to eventually involve the local population in the whole process. We don't need to go through 200 years. I mean, we can build from the experience of other countries and see what works. I mean, just benchmark. and see what worked well, what didn't work well, and then contextualize it to make sure that we speed up our own process.
Thank you
and
very
touch up.
much for such important inputs. Yes. Any weaknesses that you noticed of the mining
Yes,
code?
when I read through the new mining code, when I go straight to the issue, the term we use is the text of application. The new mining code will suffer the same trajectory that the 2016 mining code has taken, where the text of application was not published. And if we are to follow that, then so many vague clauses that are in the mining code will never be implemented and will not see the light of day. There is this issue of much talk about the iron in Balam. In the new Balam, in the new mining code, I felt a bit disturbed why only 5%, Madam will correct me, why 5% of the proceeds that will be extracted from the earth crust can be processed in Cameroon, and the rest 90% will take the sea route to Europe for processing.
To China.
Or China. When South Africa that we talk about, they are talking about iron and steel companies in terms of production. Ghana is talking about iron and steel companies. And inside the mining code, I was trying to talk with Madam. The taxes that are exonerated in section 141, sub 1, that companies are exonerated to import heavy equipments that will be used in exploiting the mine. I asked myself, do we produce these equipments in Cameroon? So if you exonerate people from custom duties and taxes from this heavy equipment, when are we going to be an industrialized nation? We want to compare with South Africa.
Exonerate means they will not pay
taxes for those.
We mean that they are encouraging mining in Cameroon.
Then the argument that experts say is that because during the exploration phase, the government did not take part.
Doctor, we are told that if this mining goes the way it's planned, we could easily just get into emergence, because it's a huge potential that can turn the economy around for good.
I mean, when will you be building the iron and steel company that will do production? What our brother was talking about.
If I may.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what is important here is for us to understand that this sector is fairly new, and government is trying to incentivize, the operationalization as quick as possible, of this sector. And that's why there are some fiscal rebates, like you're saying, and other tax and custom discounts. This is to encourage, because if we want to start by, actually saying that, okay, maybe we even have to produce the iron that needs to be exploited, we need to use to build the companies for the exploitation. It may take forever. We want to extract as fast as possible. So let us get what the material that is needed to set up these extraction industries. But for now, since we want to move fast, and it's a sector that we think has potentials, let us defiscalize. Let us reduce the custom taxes on it, so that more people can be interested to come into the sector.
Yes.
Then eventually,
thank you.
The tax base could be increased to include all different components in the extractive industry.
I'm in an advocacy, please, on tax justice in Africa.
Before you come in, you have something to say?
Yes, I have something to say. First of all, it is not 5% that is left for local consumption. No, it is 15% for local. At least, like if a company produces, for example, 100 tons, we don't have the industries that can consume 100 ton of iron ore presently. That is why the company is allowed to export to the international market. And also there are so many advantages of exporting to the international market. I think the finance knows about that. It's not a taboo to export your resources to the financial market, to international market, sorry. So if at all we have companies that can consume all the amount of iron concentrate we are going to produce, of course, there's going to be 100% local transformation. Like the project for G-Stone Resources is obviously heading to that 100% local transformation of the iron concentrate, because they intend to continue to the next level, like to produce iron billets that will be consumed by the local population. So it is, I think everything has been taken into consideration.
Yeah, I still feel uncomfortable not talking out those issues.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about Tax Justice Africa, today, the exoneration of taxes has been a crime in our economy. I'm not an economist. These exonerations, the people who conceive the code are taking advantage of this exoneration to impoverish us. And until we review the issue of exonerations of taxes and custom duties, will go nowhere.
Now,
we were talking about Botswana.
I am not an expert, but from their explanation, they've said if we impose heavy taxes on the equipment that is supposed to work, it may not come. We're going to lose. So he has just said, Prof has just said, the rebate is to make sure that they come in, and as they come in, we can now get some money back through taxing them for operating here. That's what I think. That's what Prof said.
Please,
Yeah,
when you go to America, please, when you go to America, they don't exploit their resources.
Okay.
What if they can? We cannot exploit. What is in a hurry? By the way, by exploiting this mineral now.
We need them.
We need them for what? For corruption?
For development.
Practices? Those people who are engaged in corrupt practices that are not trickling development into it. Let's reserve them for future generation when the enabling environment will be
Can I
there.
chip in something?
Okay, please. Don't become so emotional.
You feel like
Please,
if we don't,
Dr. Livinus,
we don't exploit.
Yeah.
We don't exploit.
Let me chip in something.
Yeah, you're okay.
Just talking about living, we cannot keep them because those resources are used for a particular period of time. Very soon, iron ore will not have any use for us. Very soon, bauxite will not have any use because the industry is developing. So we have to expect. This is the time now for everybody is using their mineral resources. What are we keeping our own for? Okay. Very soon, we won't have use. See, like petrol.
What I think the advocacy Dr. Livinus should be talking about right now to me is advocating for communities that are based in these areas to have what belongs to them in this code. Because, like I said earlier, you mentioned earlier, I give the statistics to you because I haven't confirmed the statistics. That 70% of crude oil comes from Ndian. You should be asking that how much does Ndian benefit? You should be advocating for the people of Ndian, some of whom still live in high poverty.
That's what we're talking about.
What should they be benefiting? We should allow the oil, the crude oil to be exploited, but we should be thinking of how much of it benefits the local community. If you go to Mayobinka, for instance, where there is bauxite, I should be asking myself, if you are coming to take this bauxite from Mayobinka, how much should a local in that area who will be deprived because their livelihood depends on the minerals, they will deprive them of the forest. Maybe they do hunting, maybe they do farming. They will deprive them of that. So how much is allocated for them in this exploitation? I think that is what we will.
It's 25% that is stated in the mining code.
And will this 25% actually get to them? Let's have the advocacy move forward.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm struggling to bring out an advocacy that have been there for more than 10 years. 25% of that is allocated to the local population and 15% to the communities.
Yes.
But this money, the subnational, those allocations are paid in the national treasury. Once they are paid in the national treasury, these people don't get, those are the advocacies, they don't get the 25 or the 15% that had been stated in the mining code.
Yes. Now, I think we've got...
I have a question.
Yes. A question or a contribution?
Let me...
A contribution, because, yes.
Because I think what is important here is that...
everything is important.
Yeah, everything is important. Yeah, but what I want to hear from you is what do you think government should do otherwise in terms of incentives?
No, we couldn't push it to that level
because
we have known what government is doing.
Government is doing.
Yes,
and we I think what is important is to also get, maybe government has not done everything. Yeah. So if there are a few recommendations that could help improve.
Give us. I
yes,
accord you that.
As far as the 2018 decentralization law is put in place, which is not stated in the code. When you read the Guinean code, the code in Guinea, decentralization law is stated in the code. So we are advocating that this local, this 25% should be paid at the regional level, not at the national treasury, which doesn't have any rubric. At the National Taxation Department collects the money in bulk, sends that bulk to the national treasury, and these communities, they never give them the rubrics of saying that this amount is coming from petrol exploration, mining exploitation. Pay this money directly to regional treasury.
Very good recommendation. Let me ask you, do those countries you're talking about have the same decentralization governance system like Cameroon? I don't think so. They have a different system. In Cameroon, we already have an established decentralization that is being fast forwarded. It's being fast tracked. So I think that just gets into it. You may laugh, but this is how we're going to end this part of the discussion. You have an international fair, Cameroon International Mining and Exhibition Convention coming up. Talk to us about that in 1 minute, please.
Thank you. The Cameroon International Mining and Exhibition Convention.
And I hope that you're going to take all these suggestions, Dr. Livino's suggestion to the other stakeholders who are going to come, so that we improve on our system. Yes.
CIMEC is a mining convention which is organized to bring together mining companies from both national and international stakeholders. Of course, banks and other insurance companies, laboratories, of course, companies who will be manufacturing equipment which will be used for mining. They are going to come together to discuss on how to move forward the mining sector in Cameroon. Why are we organizing this event? We are trying to promote, first of all, our potential still, and also we are trying to make Cameroon a regional hub for negotiations of mining contracts when it comes in terms of finances. And then also we are trying to make the world understand that Cameroon is moving from its potentials and now becoming a mining state. Alongside this events, we are also going to be hosting the more than 50 ministers of mines from the African, Caribbean and Pacific states. They will be coming so that we can discuss about critical minerals. I'm sure most people have been hearing much talk about critical minerals of late. Critical minerals are those minerals that are necessary for energy transition and of course industrialization. And also, why are they critical? Because there will be a high risk of their supply chain, like they might go out of supply within a short period of time. So they will be coming together to have this discussion and try to have a position that they will present to the European Union, because it's the European Union that is actually advocating for us to talk about critical minerals and all of this stuff.
Thank you very much. Don't forget to take the suggestions that Dr. Livinos, Eugene D, and Professor Kingsley Kelemoa, they've come up with very, very good suggestions to take to the minister, to take to the ministers' conference, because there will also be the meeting with ACP ministers of mines in Yaoundé within the same period. Now there's something we cannot go without talking about on Press Hour today. One of us, a Cameroonian, distinguished Cameroonian, is going to be confirmed today. The confirmation is awaited in Addis Ababa, where you have the African Union going to confirm this evening by 8, if that time is correct, that our own former Prime Minister, Young Philemon, will chair the 79th session of the United Nations Organization. And we cannot go without talking about this. Let me first of all ask you, when you've heard about this, that the South African candidate, the other candidate in Africa, withdrew his candidacy, of course in favor of Cameroon. Eugene, when you heard about that?
It's a diplomatic victory for Cameroon. Of course, as a Cameroonian, I should be happy that a Cameroonian will be chair of the AU. of the UN. Yes, will be president of the UN for the 79th session. But who is that Cameroonian is where my problem is, because
it's a Cameroonian.
It's a Cameroonian, and it's a diplomatic victory for Cameroon. I say it, and then Cameroon has to be proud that a Cameroonian has been endorsed for that post. But who is that Cameroonian? That is where my worry is.
Yes, it's a Cameroonian who is well known. He has been the Cameroonian High Commissioner to Canada. He has worked well. He has worked well as Prime Minister. He has occupied so many other posts. Yes, Professor Kelemwa.
Yeah, I think, like Eugene said, it's a diplomatic victory, and any opportunity that can put Cameroon at the international platforms is always most welcome. I think it simply tells the world that where he is coming from, we still have a lot of people like that and a lot of potentials that we can give out to the world. We have our own place, and I know that he is going to make us proud.
Yes, make us proud. I'm going to come to you.
Yeah. I will not be long on that.
Yes, because we have an indication that there's one Cameroonian who is calling us already from the United States to say he also is waiting. He got the news with a lot of excitement.
Yeah, with that excitement, how will that bring food on my table?
Well, you are a Cameroonian. That should bring food just by making you feel that you are a Cameroonian. Yes, if my director of the program is telling me that our own Professor Victor Mbarika is trying to intervene from the United States, North Carolina, in the United States of America. We want to welcome you to the program, Press Prof, a program that you know so well.
Always my honor being on CRTV, the great TV station, radio and TV station of our great nation, Cameroon. I'm highly honored. You
are honored. We are also honored by receiving you. You are always there. Anything that happens good in Cameroon, you're part of it. Now, you've also been in the know, like so many of us, that our own young Philemon, His Excellency, has been tipped. It's only going to be confirmation. This evening, we have received that with a lot of excitement. What about you over there as a person and as part of the community?
Absolutely. Many of us jubilated at this great news for a man, His Excellency Philemon Yang, who is not just a great patriot, but absolutely one of the greatest gentlemen, one of the most honest people God has given to Cameroon. He so deserves this. But this is not only great for him, it's great for Cameroon, it's great for Africa. And the amazing thing is just that this will not just end at the point of nomination. We will see. He will perform in this excellently well. He has always done this for many, many years of selfless service.
Thank you, Prof. But we cannot talk about him without talking about you. Just last week or so, you had an award, lifetime award from the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden. Talk to us about this. This comes at the time you've had some other awards. We're also proud of you.
Oh my goodness, yes. This is the award of awards coming from President Joe Biden, 46th President of the United States of America, receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award from the President of the United States. Anybody that says they are not excited about it, they are just lying, they are just pretending. See, I've received 3 Lifetime Achievement Awards before this. I've also received the award, African Leadership Award which was presented at the British House of Lords. The same award people like Mandela, Julius Nyerere, etc., have received. But this one makes it even more special. It comes from the President of the United States, one of the most powerful men in the world. I'm excited about this, and it makes me commit more and more to the things I need to do, which I've always done in terms of promoting ICTs among youths, among women, to address issues of development, poverty alleviation. That is one of my professional goals in life. I'll keep pursuing it, and I'm so thankful to the President of the United States. But again, I dedicate many of my awards like this to the young men and women, not just of America, but of my great nation, Cameroon and Africa, and especially to our wonderful students at the ICT University that really are the ones championing much of what I do. We train them and they go around the world and they do great things in all our locations of the university. I'm excited about this, and I especially thank President Joe Biden. I'm a registered Republican. He's a Democrat. They overlook things like that and still give me such an award, regardless.
Yes, Prof. Prof, thank you very much. That contribution has taken us to the end of our program. If we had time, we will ask you more questions. We want to thank you and thank God for blessing people like you, people like His Excellency Young Philemon, who are making Cameroon proud, as we have all agreed. Now, I also want to thank the panelists here on the set, Madame Karine Abgo, Director of Geology in the Ministry of Mines, Industries and Technological Development. We want to thank you very much, Professor Kingsley Kelly-Moore, who is a finance expert. I like to call him an economist. Dr. Livinus Esambe, civil society actor. Thank you for coming. And Eugene D, who is the publisher and editor-in-chief of Newswatch magazine. We also want to be very grateful to you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving us your time on today's edition of Press Hour. There will be a rebroadcast of this program on Monday at 2:30 p.m. Thanks for watching.